Alright everybody, hello and welcome to the Snowbirds meeting room. I'm Shadow Spectre 11, and today we got a lot of news, a lot to cover. The letter from the chairman, the content creation of the ISC, the Overdrive initiative, and the Anvil Aerospace Hornet Mark II. Plus a couple of leaks that have dropped. Evocati is going into a feature build, so that's pretty intense. So I'm gonna kick it over to the scene and get started. So I'm gonna go with the big one first.
Roger that, flight.
The letter from the chairman. I'm gonna go over this a little briefly, but pretty big. And it starts out with a quote from Marcus Aurelius, Roman Emperor. What we do now echoes in eternity. And and this is a very valid point. So, as we know, 2023 marked the beginning of a transformative chapter for Cloud Imperium in both of our games. Okay, so we're going to start off with the one we call the unmentionable, which is 318. It was a very, very controversial and buggy patch. We all know this. It had a lot of problems when it first dropped. Even though in the PTU it ran without a problem. The first couple days were rough on the PTU, but it ended up smoothing out. But then it went to live, and it was a very, very rough patch. And even people that have been in the game for years said that this was the roughest patch they ever encountered. So, in 2023, the team delivered Persistent Entity Streaming, PES, the foundation tech that is necessary for server meshing. As we mentioned in the last letter, PES is the hardest part of the work needed for server meshing, and is the one that required the most engineering. So overcoming the challenges with this release last year's mission was critical. The launch of Alpha 318 was far more challenging than we anticipated, and discovered some issues with our back-end database that were only visible at the scale we see on a live release, as opposed to the persistent test universe. Yeah. Outside of this, we uncovered a lot of little issues that come from a truly persistent universe. While it is amazing to come across a wreck from a player combat a week ago, it is not so fun to try and land at a hangar where the last 3 ships crashed and left debris laying around, blocking your landing pad. So we slowly worked through these issues and others, but it was a challenging time for both the development team and the community. These obstacles not only tested our skills and determination, but also demonstrated the resilience as we overcame them. It was rough. That patch was rough. Sorry about that. Had the music running. Beyond PES 2023 welcomed the long awaited implementation of salvage, encompassing hull stripping, structural component, and repair, accompanied by relevant missions. Traders reap the benefits of an overhauled, no pun intended, and physicalized cargo system, while players across the board enjoyed many new missions spanning both PvE and PvP scenarios. Okay, so our development reached a series of significant milestones last year, which all took center stage at CitizenCon 2953. The magnitude of this event for everyone at CIG cannot be overstated, especially considering it marked our first in person CitizenCon in over 4 years. We have been powered by all of your excitement since the very beginning of the journey, and we've missed the energy that comes from spending time together sharing our mutual excitement about what we're building. The show was an incredible affirmation of all our hard work, both on Star Citizen and Squadron 42 in 2023, and kicked off our best Q4 ever in the terms of player logins and engagements. Thanks to all of you, the huge wave in Q4 2023 was our best year ever, with record highs in daily active players, monthly active players, unique logins, and hours played for the year. More than 1.1 million of you set foot into the persistent universe in 2023. Okay. Okay, the other milestone was welcoming Turbulent fully into the CIG family. Since the end of 2012, Turbulent has been responsible for a large part of our online infrastructure and greatly contributed to our growth and success. That was a big thing. A chief technical officer, Benoit, now becomes the CTO of Cloud Imperium and head of our core technology group. And then you've got other people that have been involved with Squadron 42, spread across our 5 offices: Austin, Texas, Los Angeles, California, Manchester, England, Frankfurt, Germany, and now Montreal, Canada. So, as we know, we are now doing the Evocati test of server meshing, and it works. It's a big one. So we will see Pyro. I don't know when, but when it comes, it is going to be monumental. Big one. So on Squadron 42, that is taking the game from feature complete to content complete, ensuring that the game has necessary polish and feels worthy of being spiritual successor to Wing Commander. To this end, the team is hard at work, heads down, driving towards the finish line. I'm incredibly excited about how the game is shaping up, and we will have more to share with you at this year's CitizenCon, which will be held in Manchester, England. On the Star Citizen front, the teams are preparing to deliver server meshing and expanding the universe of Star Citizen to multiple systems. Okay, one of the key milestones in lore, the first jump day, and pilot Nick Croshaw. Okay, on 10th of April 2020, 2271 became the first human to jump. Okay, So, on the Tech Preview channel, well ahead, well, a little ahead of this historic date of April 10th, we had our own first Jump Day celebration on Star Citizen Tech Preview channel this weekend. For this test our progress on server meshing and replication layer technology, we opened our first functioning jump gates, allowed players to test traveling between two systems for the first time in our history. Players were able to travel between Stanton and Pyro via wormholes, each system streaming in and out seamlessly. For those of you interested, our first own Nick Croshaw honor goes to Evocati member called Mr. Trash, who we believe was the first in the community to successfully jump. During the test, it is worth highlighting that we also achieved 350 concurrent players in a single shard replication layer with two connected servers, setting a new record for concurrent players in a single instance in Star Citizen. Big one. After many hard years of work, a goal that was many thought impossible, we are on the cusp of delivering one final piece of technology that will enable a connected shard universe that thousands of people can experience together at the same time. Benoit, the CTO, said this in the letter. This was his quote. As the new Chief of Technology Officer at Cloud Imperium, I'm thrilled to join the CIG family and lead our technology group. We're dedicated to pushing boundaries, and I am honored to represent the care for this team of pioneers and trailblazers. One of my first initiatives as CTO was establishing Technology Preview Channel. It is a space where developers can fearlessly test large technology changes with players way before they go live, fostering the spirit of open development with our community. In 2024, our server meshing journey is hitting its stride. After years of dedication, we're closing in on the original version we set out to achieve. This journey started long ago with the introduction of streaming capabilities to Star Engine, like client-side object container streaming, followed by server-side object container streaming, and progressing to persistent entity streaming to maintain the entire game world. Every step has been building toward our goal to support MMO level player populations in a high fidelity game environment of large magnitude. We are gearing up to release the replication layer in 323. This is a big deal. It is the foundation we build on the mesh on. As a player, you should perceive this is specifically when dealing with server crashes, the 30K. Hey, Shade, what's up? As those will no longer cause immediate disconnection but gracefully recover, allowing you to continue to play. For developers, this milestone marks the true separation between the simulation and the replication, a humongous achievement for the game and for Star Engine. But hey, we're not hitting pause there. We're charging full steam ahead towards the launching of our first multi-server mesh in 4.0. For this, multiple servers work together to simulate parts of the universe. As a player, this will enable you to visit Pyro through the jump gate, where the jump tunnels transition seamlessly between game servers. Game shards will also host more players, so you should encounter more friends or foes along the way. This will mark a new beginning for our game architecture in the coming weeks and months. Get ready for more technical preview tests with various mesh configurations, multiple game servers per solar system, and seamless transitions without gates. We're talking about layouts where servers are dedicated to entire planets and moons, others focus solely on landing zones or key locations with plenty of higher player count experiments. I'm generally proud of this team, and we face while we face challenges ahead, I'm filled with the relentless optimism, knowing that amazing successes are waiting for us. As Benoit. So, to continue, as we set our sights on the year ahead, the team remains focused, committed to ushering the community into uncharted territories with the release of Pyro and Star Citizen Alpha 4.0. I cannot stress how much inflection point this is an inflection point, as it will allow many more people to play together, but also to seamlessly travel to different star systems. All of this points towards 2024 being our biggest and best year yet in the universe of Star Citizen. But Star Citizen Alpha 4.0 is not our final destination. And with that, I have more exciting news to share. Okay. As we revealed at CitizenCon with Squadron 42 achieving feature complete milestone, we are now able to bring features developed for Squadron 42 to the persistent universe at an accelerated rate. As part of this, towards the end of last year, we decided to reorganize the Star Citizen and Squadron 42 teams to be more integrated to facilitate bringing several years of worth of feature work and polish to Star Citizen, and finally set ourselves out for the Star Citizen's own finish line, as we know. And we've all seen Star Engine, what they showed at CitizenCon. While we recognize there's no definitive finish line in an MMO because it's constantly going to be worked on, and we will always be adding new features and content for many, many years to come, Star Citizen 1.0 is what we consider the features and content to represent commercial release. This means that the game is welcoming to new players and polished with enough gameplay and content to engage players continuously. In other words, it is no longer alpha or early access. Much like we planned much like we planned out Squadron 42's drive to feature complete, the upcoming content complete status, we spent significant time looking at what Star Citizen 1.0 means and what it would take to get there, which makes sense. To facilitate this, I am pleased to share that our very own Rich Tyree will be taking on a new role as Senior Game Director. He worked on Squadron 42. He did practically, he was like the driving force of everything, and besides Chris Roberts and others. So, let's see, as Senior Game Director overseeing both the development of Star Citizen and Squadron 42 alongside me. With this change, you'll start to see more rapid expansion of features and content coming from Squadron 42 to Star Citizen, starting with Alpha 3.23, which is shaping up to be one of our biggest releases to date in terms of new features getting into players' hands. When we announced CitizenCon, we would start bringing across the features work that we had developed and refined to push to feature complete for Squadron 42. We were not kidding. As game director on Squadron 42, Rich played a crucial role in helping steer Squadron 42 to its current feature complete status. Under his stewardship, Squadron 42 experienced a significant surge of progress at a momentum we fully anticipate will continue to carry us towards content complete, beta, and release. And with this is this guy, senior game director. Firstly, I'd like to take the opportunity to say how great it is to be back working on Star Citizen. Some of you may already know me, but I was a core gameplay pillar director before I moved over to the game director on Squadron 42 a few years back. With this new role, I will be coming on board to help push Star Citizen to the next target of its development, ultimately culminating in leaving early access and releasing the 1.0 version of the game. This begins with identifying what features and content are required to recreate a fully realized spaced MMO. While laying the foundation for future updates, to be 100% clear though, this doesn't mean we're going back to the drawing board or totally changing the vision of what SC currently is. With this aim, Chris and I have overseen the creation of a roadmap that takes us all the way up to 1.0 and outlines the features and content we need, and just as crucially, the ones that will come post full released for release. That. With my role now overseeing both projects with Chris, and the fact that Squadron 42 has hit feature complete milestone, it has provided an opportunity to reshuffle the teams. This should see a large contingent of gameplay teams now coming back to focus on SC. We also have taken the opportunity to move away from heavily specialized teams like actor feature and vehicle feature to more generic gameplay teams that should allow us to be a lot more flexible and shoulder some of the heavier burdens those teams used to carry. Hey Brian, what's up? While these teams we still will be instrumental in shipping Squadron 42, they will now be focused on bringing all the existing features over to SC, as well as working on brand new features like base building, crafting to help out round out the 1.0 experience. With every release going forward, the intention to move ourselves closer to that end goal. So you should expect to see large updates each quarter with many changes to systems that have not been touched in a long time, like economy, insurance, etc., alongside a whole suite of quality of life improvements to things like inventory missions, mobiGlas, etc., coupled with totally brand new features and content. We have set very ambitious goals for ourselves initially for both the game and technology teams, but Chris and I truly believe they are achievable. And hopefully you can start to see that progress starting with 323 and beyond. So, that's there. So, still with this, they ended up doing some things that were kind of behind the scenes. We didn't know, but this is what happened. Working in tandem, Rich and I will continue to establish the strategic vision to bring to life the intended Star Citizen gameplay experience. As Rich said, over the past few months, our teams have been busily planning the upcoming major milestones for the persistent universe, culminating in what we refer as Star Citizen 1.0. As that roadmap comes together and becomes validated, we look forward to sharing with you both its vision and executional plan later this year. As part of this development reorganization, we have made a few significant changes. From a personal standpoint, I have moved to Austin, Texas from Los Angeles to be closer in the time zone to our main development operations in Manchester, Frankfurt, and Montreal. I'm spending significant time at our largest studio in Manchester with almost 600 staff. As I sit with Rich and the teams working towards completion on Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. As part of this, we we made the difficult decision to ask the large Los Angeles development team, which had increasingly been providing support for the main developmental teams based in Manchester, to relocate to join other teams, primarily in Manchester, but also in Austin and Montreal. Los Angeles, while shrinking, will still be an important office for the company, but one focusing on business support role with marketing, finance, legal, and HR. As part of this reorganization, we sadly waved goodbye to the Persistent Universe Live director, Todd Pappy, as he moved back to the US from the UK last year for family reasons. And after much soul searching, I determined that we cannot afford to have this role remote from the main team in Manchester for a good portion of the year. It is a sad moment, as Todd worked diligently for the past 9 years on Star Citizen, making as many important contributions and providing excellent leadership of his teams. I wish him the best of luck and look forward to seeing what he does next. Okay, so that is the story of Todd Pappy, and the one thing that we saw where it was, you know, his ID, his moniker on Spectrum went from staff to backer. That's why. Okay, so he continues um, with all this. So there's something here, and I'm looking forward to getting your hands on Star Citizen Alpha 323 soon, where you'll finally be able to experience many features we're working hard the past couple of years, which will lead into Invictus launch week in May. As a lead up to Invictus, we have prepared a series of missions to earn your UEE Civilian Defense Force stripes and potentially earn an incredibly powerful, unprecedented in-game upgrade if you complete all of them. So are you ready? So you are ready to face Xeno threat in a more personal manner. As we know, that's the Hornet. And we are now currently in the Overdrive Initiative event. So, with the power of the community, the driving force behind our success is our extended team, each and every one of you. Together, we have built a community that not only plays a crucial role in our development, but also embodies our shared passion for the Star Citizen universe. It is you who have propelled us forward. Without your passion, your willingness to test, to be undeterred by bugs and crashes, to be vocal with your thoughts, and stamina for the long, windy road, there would be no Star Citizen or CIG. You were there for the iconic helmet flip at the opening of the hangar doors for the first time in Alpha 0.8. Together we explored the vast persistent universe for the first time in Alpha 2.0. and you were on board for the inaugural planetary landing in Alpha 3.0. As soon we'll be leaving the Stanton system as we venture into the lawless wastelands of Pyro system in Alpha 4.0 thanks to server meshing. And beyond this, Star Citizen 1.0 twinkles on the horizon. The future has never been so bright. Chris Roberts. So that's the letter, which was pretty, I thought it was good. It gave a lot of insight in what has been going on and, you know, why Todd Pappy left and why all of a sudden things happened like they did. So that was a big thing. And I'm so glad that he put that out there, let us know what's going on. So with this, the next thing that I'm going to go over. Hey, what's up, Chiggy? So the next thing I'm going to go into is the ISC. The character creator. Now, it's gonna pop up with little things, you know, where the ads pop up, but I'll stop it in certain parts as we talk about it. So here we go.
One of the most anticipated aspects of the upcoming Alpha 323 has to be the persistent universe arrival of our new character customizer, enabling better representation and a true sense of ownership over your individual avatar in the verse. And to share with you the various ins and outs of what's ahead, let's throw it now to just a few folks standing in front of the massive team that made all of this possible.
The reality of the old character creator is that the old character...
Okay, now this guy, Sean Tracy, he was supposedly working on Theaters of War. Okay? And that was supposed to be, I guess, I'm guessing, I'm speculating, Arena Commander. So certain parts of Arena Commander are now coming to a point where we're going to be able to make our own scenarios. And that's all that in private lobbies. And that's supposedly coming in 23. So we'll see.
Creator could walk so that this one could run.
The original mandate was, let's just get the PU customizer working in Squadron with building blocks instead of Flash.
It was very bare bones. We hadn't had a lot of progress on it.
We had no design, we had no designer, or anyone else working on the project except me.
Basically, the task was make it look pretty.
The very, very first underpinnings of the character creator actually still exist. It's our DNA system.
In the old one, you could only blend between the different faces. Also, you could only blend from one face to another at a time.
That's what we got right now. And they added hair and things of that nature in 22.
The character customizer for Star Citizen is so important because players get ownership over their character. They're not just representing some player character that some artist has created, but they're representing themselves. We want the player to be able to represent themselves in the world and the universe that is Star Citizen.
Sell to millions of people online with Shopify's social media and marketplace integrations.
I've got to get rid of those. Oops.
So the character customizer that's coming into Star Citizen in 323 is broken down into 4 main sections.
The first section of the character creator is the DNA system, and that's where the player actually interacts with the blending and the shape of the actual head itself.
It's still the same DNA system in terms of when we apply it to the characters. The difference is how we interact with that DNA system. So we've introduced face sculpting.
this is the big thing. So you can just grab these nodes on the face of the character that you have and shape it as you see fit.
What face sculpting allows us to do is, instead of saying, I want a certain proportion of a certain head, it allows us to say, I want to pull this vertex to this position, and then we can work out what proportions of different heads is required to get that vertex into that position.
The system is very, very cool, as behind the scenes, we can't just adjust the face into certain shapes and be happy with it. We have to also change the rig. We also have to change the corrective blend shapes.
But we've also kept the original DNA blending as well, but we've tried to improve the user experience of that as much as possible.
Now you have a full list of heads at your disposal, so you can see all the heads available, and you can tweak, you can take a bit of the nose from that face, you can take the eyes from that face easily. It's quick to use.
Yeah, so the PU is very modern, sleek looking look. We're trying to go for like almost like the Apple Vision Pro look. But yeah, it's very modern compared to your Squadron, and it's a lot more in-date, I guess you could say.
Basically trying to reduce the number of mouse clicks it takes to get what you're looking for.
So some of the other things that you can do in the DNA section is the skin tone adjustment.
You know, there will be so messed up faces running around. Yeah.
As well as the skin material or the skin texture itself. So what you can do within this is you can actually skin tone adjust this into realistic shades of certain skin tones to better represent yourself.
Your freckles, and we have some blemishes on there.
And these represent actual scans of people that we've done throughout the course of the years, and we've actually scanned a whole bunch more that we will be adding to the pool as time goes on.
But we are always making that pool larger, so the faces are always going to look better and better and have more variations in them. So the next big aspect is hair.
Within the hair section, there's a whole bunch of new hairstyles, which is obviously the first and most important thing. One of the interesting things, and the teams I represent worked really, really hard on this to have some hair simulation onto it. So you can see the hair move around as you're even selecting it, and then as you add it onto the character, you can see it move around even more.
But better than that, you now also have a massive library of beards and facial hair and eyebrows.
Now that's a big one for a lot of players out there. Beards, facial hair, mustaches, hair, and all that stuff.
Brows as well, so you can mix and match to get exactly what you're after. Instead of what we had before, where you could cycle through hairs, you could cycle through hair colors. You now have a massive library of all the hairs.
Whereas in the previous character customizer, we just had a bunch of preset material variants. For the new character customizer, we want to give the player the power to go in and actually edit those materials.
What's even cooler about this now is, though we had the hair selections before, you could never tint it. You could never come up with your own color set.
Yep, need my big Magnum PI stash.
We can go in and we can change the natural color of the hair. We can change the dye amount.
If you're an options trader, day trader, or stock trader, and you're losing money in the market right now, or you're...
But we also have the new gradient system where you can choose to have one dye color for the roots of your hair, another dye color for the tips of your hair, and then you can set where the gradient changes.
Not only do we have like a blonde hair, but then we have a purple highlight that's done at the end or done at the top, and that's all player configurable. So not only do you have a whole bunch of different hairstyles to choose from, but you've got the full color gamut as well.
And all of that is brand new functionality that we've added to a character customizer, so we can update the shader params on the hair in real time.
So my favorite aspect of the new facial hairstyles is the variety. We have a large library for being the first version of this, and it's going to grow even more within the coming years.
And as we've begun to include more culturally diverse hairstyles in 3.23, the team is working on more that will be seen in the patches to come.
So the third major aspect of the new character customizer is styling.
The makeup is another completely new feature for the new character customizer.
You'll be able to pick your makeup for eyes, your cheeks, and your lips.
We actually used to have makeup baked into the textures where we had already pre-selected eyeliners and all these kind of things to represent what that given skin tone was. But we wanted the player to make that choice. We wanted the player to have access to all the different gamuts of colors, all the different specular reactions, all the different highlights that they may want to do for their character.
For each of these, you will have some base versions that you can pick from, but you can also go in and tweak these on a deeper level. You can set the opacity, you can set different colors for, you can have one color for the eyeliner, one for the eyeshadow.
Like the hair, we can set certain colors and parameters on the makeup, so that's like how glossy it is and the opacity of the makeup. Unlike the hair, we actually set the shape of the makeup as well, and the way that we do that is we're basically adding new textures to the skin material on the players. And again, we update all of that in real time, and that is also quite similar to the new freckles and sunspots, how they work. That's again another texture that we've added to the player character's skin, and then we can tweak these parameters on the shader in real time to show more or less freckles or more or less sunspots.
So when it comes to the different styles and what you can achieve in the character customizer, it's been a constant push and pull of making it look really good, really realistic, and letting people just do what they want. And we've been trying to keep it as realistic as possible, but still letting people do exactly what they want with it, because we're leaving so much power in the hands of the players. They can tweak all these different colors and all of their different, on their hair, their facial hair, their eyebrows, as well as these different makeup sections. And it can get pretty zany.
So the makeup itself is actually a fairly complex feature behind the hood. But in the end, I think it actually presents as a pretty fun interaction to changing up the skin tone and, again, representing yourself within the world of Star Citizen.
So the fourth main feature is all the additional functionality. We'll have a review page where you can see your character.
This is when you're actually taking a look at your character as a whole, from the toes all the way to the top of the head.
Another part of the core functionality of this is the randomization. So now we allow players to both randomize the whole thing, so you get a totally new look, so you get a good canvas to start off of.
Now, one of the really fun things about the character creator, and I didn't mention at CitizenCon and definitely should have, is that we do have the save and load functionality finally.
Huge. That is huge. Where you can save your character, drop it to your PC, don't have to redo it each patch, and just load it. That is massive.
Within the character creators.
So you'll be able to export your character onto your PC and find that file, send it to your friend, and they can import that into their game and see that character on their machine.
So no longer will you have to worry about a reset or anything. You can save your character, you can reload it.
You can not only save your character to persistence and get it to load into a PU, but you can save a bunch of characters that you can then just load in at any time into the character customizer. And you can also send these to other players that they can then load in your custom-made characters as well. And this is the exact same tool that we're using internally at CIG to create NPCs that we're rolling out to all players in 3.23.
And I'd like to take this very rare opportunity to ask you guys and to challenge you guys.
I mean, that is one a lot of people just really did not like coming in after a patch and having to redo a character. Attack of the Clones. So it's a big thing. It's a massive thing. And I mean, what else can you say? It's a huge thing.
To make a version of Jared and share it with the community and with us so that we can see how close you've gotten. And if there's one I really like, maybe I'll do something pretty terrible with it.
What I'm really hoping to see is a hyper-realistic Chris Perry that someone could send to me for reasons. So that's what's coming in 323. But in the future, we'll also be adding tattoos, piercings, stubble, and more eye settings. So you're gonna be able to do even more customization at that point.
So this is a major milestone for Star Citizen because finally the presentation is exactly at a state that we wanted. So many different teams have been involved in this, from lighting to environments to feature teams to tech art to tech animation to animation programming. Everyone has seen this, has been involved in this, and it's gone all the way up through the chain, through to executive approval. So it's finally to a state where Chris has actually been happy with it and that we could release it to the community.
Really happy. We put a lot of time and effort into getting it to where we want it to be today, so it's come a long way. Particularly happy with like how it's just easy to use, and you can basically go from like scratch and just completely start from a clean slate and just create whatever you want, really.
You're gonna be able to express yourself with your characters so much more than before. And you're gonna be able to see everyone in the verse really being themselves or whoever they want to be out there. I think that we have made one of the strongest character customizers that's out there at this point, and we are very proud of this.
So, what did we learn this week? Well,
Okay. So, for those that have played Cyberpunk 2077, and I've played it, that character creator was amazing. For those that have played Starfield, that was good too. This one is intense, and I feel that it's going to get better as time goes on. But we can only wait and see. But from what I see here, this is going to be huge and massive, and especially the save feature. That is massive. So, the next thing I'm going to touch on is the Overdrive. What we are currently in now. This event is currently running. And I have to say, this one is a lot of fun. It is fun. It's a little repetitive at this point because of the fact that we're just doing the bunker part. But as time goes on, it's going to change. There's going to be different things to do until we get to Invictus. So, the best, it's just, as long as you keep playing it, your progression continues to grow. This is the initial. This is the current, what we're doing right now. And as you progress and keep going, you'll be, at the end of this, you'll be able to upgrade the Hornet Mark II from the F7C to the F7A, the military exclusive. This is a very cool ship. She's sleek, she's fast, she is nimble. She can get away from you if you're not careful. There's also, if you do not put the turret on the ship, you can carry 2 SCUs of cargo. So she's a quick in and out ship for box missions, beginning box missions, and things of that nature. I have the ship. It's a good ship. I enjoy it. There's just a lot of things. There was so much that came down from what we've done. I've played this in the EPTU, and I've just completed it in the PU, the last mission. So this is ship sail, of course, and you can upgrade it. You know, there's the Mark II and things of that nature. Your Gladius, your Redeemers, your Buccaneers, and stuff like that, and you can do the Corsair upgrade. Now, I'm going to go into this. And there's the Hornet. So I'm going to run this commercial real quick of what they showed for the Hornet. Back it up a little bit. They do make some cool commercials.
Introducing Iron Beam,
Oh,
a
God.
bright choice for futures trading. Iron Beam is an industry-leading broker.
So, going back to this. This is the Hornet. You have you have the variant, the F7A, and then you have the F7C. So the C version is what you have right now, and you can change the upgrades on, change the components, to make it better. So you have your different paints, and then there's your technical data. Okay, so this is the F7C, and then you have the F7A. So you have you have your variant. And there's your standalone options and things of that nature. And I just made a video on it that I'm working on currently, but I can sneak peek it, which I will be putting up today. So I'm going to run this real quick, give you an idea of what I've been working on. So you probably won't be able to hear the sound, but this is what I did today. Was working on this. Let me see if I can turn the volume up a little bit. Yep, it's at 100%. So The military paint, yeah. So you guys are getting a sneak peek of what I'm working on currently.
Engines online.
There's no combat in this right now. I was just
Takeoff complete.
getting it up in the air, making a quick video on it. And she gets a little unstable. Now this is coupled flight. I haven't tried it in decoupled yet. And blackout. Oh yeah. And this ship can get away from you if you're not careful. The sound of the ship is really cool. And that's it. Just a quick 6-minute one. And that's pretty much it. So, with that, this is the conclusion of this Snowbirds meeting room. I'm Shadow Spectre 11. I hope you enjoyed it. And the next ISC is going to be about the persistent hangers. Can't wait for that one. As you know, this week's SEO was about FPS. It was a Q&A. But the persistent hanger is one that I've been waiting for. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Have a good one. Take care. And I will see you next Sunday. Have a good one.